Thy will be done, Blessed One. May the blessings be. Welcome. A real nice group of new seekers returned. Thank you for that. Those on the internet, much love and welcome. And the phone lines. If you do the phone lines, you can save a lot of dollars on the airplane ticket. It seems like everything costs something, even the MasterPath costs something. I think it's very reasonable. I don't want to gouge anybody, but it does bring up an interesting principle, loved ones, and that is you've got to pay for everything. Everything. If you get a new car, do you have to pay for it? You know, they come out with a blonde and long hair, you know, and I could say more, I won't. And looking real nice, you know, and geez, if you get this car, you just might latch onto that blonde or some nice looking guy, you know. But then, you know, and then they say, what are you going to do with all the money you save? Well, how do you save any money if you lay out 20, 30 G? What are you going to do with all the money you save? I mean, it's hilarious. How about an education? Do you have to pay for it? I mean, geez, we just want to educate our mind, right? Oh, you pay major dollars. Okay, how about marriage? Look at the payment on marriage, you know? We fall in love with our mate, whatever, and oh, you know, I love you, and it's so great, and then things can change. And this love has to be revealed for what it is, whatever it is, and it's got to go deeper, or it goes shallower. But look what you pay. Okay, how about kids? Oh, beautiful child. I mean, it's just a miracle of the flesh. Child is born, you know, and look what we pay. What do they, geez, things are changing so fast, but back in my day, they figured it was about $500,000, I think, for a boy, and about $600,000 for a girl. Okay, and that's just monetary, right? And then just look at all the sacrifice, the time, the effort, the service. Look what we pay to have children. You get a speeding ticket, you pay. Everything is a payment. And it's the same way with spirituality. Everything is a payment. And one says, well, you mean with money, Gary? Well, sometimes. Does that mean that if I lay out enough bucks, I can get my spirituality? No. No, you can't buy spirituality. A lot of people tithe and they pay money, a lot of big bucks. Scientology, they financially rape one. That is way out of bounds. But can you join the path for $0? Some of the paths in the East say, oh no, we don't charge. You can't charge for spirituality. But then they get one in other ways. They'll have a festival or a bandera once a year, and it's expected for you to give 10% of what you own. 10%. The Christian church asks for 10%, and you're tithing 10%. Now, is it just a money thing? No. How about our karmas? Look what we pay. The whole law of karma is set up in the equal and opposite reaction. Cause and effect. If you put out a cause with 100 ergs of energy, The effect is 100 ergs of energy in return, whether it's good or bad. And we're all under the law of karma, whether we like it or not. We pay for everything. Spirituality, in just a real sense of the word, what do we pay for spirituality? You say, Sri Gary, I like what you're saying. There's a few things I agreed with, not all of them. That's a good start. But what do we have to pay for spirituality? Is it a matter of the monthly dues? No. What we pay in spirituality is with our ego and our mind. There's really a tremendous payment, and that's why not very many people want spirituality, because they don't want to pay anything. Now, the ego and mind, loved ones, prides itself, its major attribute is the feeling of being separated from God and everyone else. I'll be darned if I'm going to wear the same clothes as my neighbor wears. Or I'm not going to buy nothing from Walmart or Penny's. Everyone has that, right? I need something different. Because I'm not like John Doe or Sally Smith, and I don't want to be either. I'm different. The ego, that's ego. Prides itself in being different. So you really think we're different from one another? I don't think so. No, we've all got the same creator. We've all got the same body complex. We all have emotions, a body, a mind. We're all under the law of cause and effect. The idea that we are born equal is a lie. The idea that we're created equal is the truth. We're all created equal when we come down from Sat Khand. The soul is sent on the journey and it devolves. We're all equal right here. But as we devolve, now evolve is going up. Some people think they just somehow ended up here. One shining day, they realize they're in the physical body and geez, and yet the Lord says there's no beginning and no end. And it's all, even in the Bible, it says, before the creation of the world, I knew you. No beginning, no end. Well, now that's pretty far out when you think of time-space concepts. That's why time is an illusion. But no, here we're equal. And then we devolve and come all the way down, picking up all these bodies, spending long periods of time in each region as we devolve. Because once we get down here, like to this region here, all of our energies will descend before us and create the soul body. That's not the soul, it's the soul body. So we have something to drop into, devolve into. And then once we get here, our energies drop here and they create the first mind. The Nijmanas, the highest mind. And this is created, okay? So then we can drop from our soul body down into this higher mind. Now this is as far as it goes. And we're in the process of devolving. And then eons of time go on here, and we have to create and establish a causal center of activity and vibration. And once it's created, we drop into here. And then the same here. And then finally we get down to here. And one day we're born and we wake up and we get some awareness and we say, geez, I've got a body, I'm alive. I mean, I'm feeling pain, I smile, I feel happiness. What's going on? And then we spend a long time in this right here. And I know I've gone through this before, but it's a very interesting concept because it enlarges our mind. And then we spend a long time here going through this physical plane. And this is quite long. When you tell a person how long it is, they don't want to believe it, and they usually don't. It's like too big. And you have to be careful you don't fry out one's mental senses. And then we spend a long time developing laterally in the physical plane. And then the bright and shining day comes when we are called back to the path. Now, this time in here is quite long, and it goes through all the phylums, mineral, plant, animal, reptile, human being, and then we start our ascent. Now, this is when you run into a true saint, a true master. There's always one on the globe. If you spend your entire life looking for a saint, it's time well spent. If you are to run into a saint, you will. And then when that happens, the course of your entire life changes. And now we start evolving upward. And we just keep going. We just keep going until we get back to the kingdom of heaven, which is up here. That's the journey of soul. It's a beautiful, beautiful, mind-boggling journey. It's great to be alive, and it's great to have a life in the divine's universal body. Not everyone can say that right now because their life hasn't been brought into order, but I trust you're all working on it. You should be working on it. Okay. So spirituality, how we pay for our spirituality is the sacrifice of the mind and ego. And the mind and ego is what has to die. The Bible calls it the crucifixion. Getting the soul out of the body consciousness, freeing it up. And so this is the price. So if you ask a true master, what's the price of true spirituality? He will tell you your head. And you know, the ignorant person says, I ain't giving my head to nobody. And the master says, well, I'm not talking about your cranium. No, who would want to be decapitated? We're not talking about that. We're talking about your ego, and your mind has to give up its false rulership, and then the soul has to come out, and our spiritual nature has to take precedence over our mind and ego. Well, our mind ego, loved ones, doesn't like any restrictions. It doesn't like any authority. It doesn't like to be told what to do. This is why I'm very careful in being the master and talking to you, and with my own authority, not laying it on you or anything like this, because it's a very heavy proposition. And when one wants to follow the spiritual path, what it means is you've got to give up your preference to your own mind and ego and reestablish it in your soul. That's in short what we're trying to do. Okay.